Okay. Well, I will continue from where we left last class. That is on the negative consumption externality. Oh, mana dia nak saya tadi? Yeah, negative consumption externality. We have what? We have the MSC equal to the marginal personal benefit minus the marginal external benefit. No, yeah, marginal personal benefit equal to the marginal social benefit. I'm sorry. The marginal social benefit is equal to the marginal personal benefit minus marginal external benefit. Okay, I think that's where we you have the MSC. You have the MSB, I'm sorry, the marginal social benefit. Equal to the marginal personal benefit minus marginal external benefit. So the diagram, if you look at the diagram, I draw the diagram because it's difficult to see the effect without the diagram. So we have the MC, the marginal benefit. That one, marginal benefit is the marginal personal benefit or marginal private benefit. And then you have the marginal social benefit here. And that is the marginal external benefit. Okay. So that's where we left last class. This is the competitive equilibrium. You have QC, and that is PC. And the social equilibrium after the accounting of the external benefit, ES. Okay, I think we stop here. So under negative consumption externality, okay, under negative consumption externality, we do the comparative statistics, we already did. We say that the market consume too much output. Okay, too much output. Because the QC is bigger than QS. Right? If you just leave it the market, we consume too much. Example that we're looking at is the cigarette smoke. So there will be too much smoke. Okay, there will be too much smoke. That means there will be too much people consuming cigarette. Okay, too much smoke. So that is the effect on the market. And the net gain to the society is this area. So that is the net gain. Okay, now in order to see the net gain, this is external negative externality. So we argue incur costs, all right, incur costs. So one way to look at it is using this relationship. You have negative MEB. Negative MEB means what? Means positive MEC. So you think about is MEC, positive MEC. So that is the MEC. Okay. So you see the area here. Okay, the area, the whole area. Let's say this whole area here, this whole area in black. Okay, we call this A, B, C, EC. So A, B, C, EC, A, B, C, EC is the external cost. Okay, external cost 0. No, external cost 0. External cost call it 1. Okay, so before this is the competitive outcome. All right, without negative externality. Okay, without externality. So we don't take care of the externality. You have the what do you call it? The competitive equilibrium. The external cost is that area. Okay. So now, let's say when we consider the negative, what is the total external cost? The total external cost would be this area here. The area that I put blue. Okay. So with externality, then the external cost, we call it EC2 is equal to what? Is equal to A, B, E, S. Okay, here I put B. E, S, D. So there is what? There is a reduction in external cost. So the reduction in external cost, or the change in external cost. So the change in external cost here is a reduction. All right, equal to what? Equal to the smaller area. So ES C EC D. Okay. So that's how you got the net gain as that area. So the net gain in that area, because you have to take care or take into account the reduction in the benefit to the smokers. Okay. So net gain to society is that area. We have here the reduction in external costs. All right. Reduction in external costs. That means it's easier to see it, okay, because it's a negative externality, it's a cost. So we think of it as the external cost. All right, any question? So you have what? We have the social equilibrium will be there. QS is easy as smaller than QC, and PS is smaller than PC. So we say that the market, all right, market consume too much output without, I mean, if we don't consider the negative consumption externality. Okay, all right. So that is where we left last class. Now, what I would like to do now is look at the positive externality. Now, the positive externality, again, you have the positive consumption and the positive production externality. Now, when you have positive, that means what? That means the third party benefit from the transaction, right? So the third party will benefit from the transaction. So let us do the positive production externality. So I want to look at my okay, positive production externality. So now we look at the positive side. Okay, so positive production externality. Now, production externality positive means something that we produce, right? I mean, the firms produce, or something that is produced in the market. or an output or service that that create or generate external benefit to third parties or to people that are not directly involved in the transaction. So here, production, okay, production of good or service generate or generate benefit. And not incur cost, generate benefit or benefits to third parties. That is the people that is not involved in the transaction. Example. What is an example of something that we produce in the economy? Okay, not necessarily ice cream or that kind of thing. Good, is there any good that in the economy that you have that generate positive externality? Any example? Okay, example. Example is school. Okay, a school or hospital. Okay, hospital, school. Okay, this kind of infrastructure or highway. Okay, highway produce what? Produce benefit to third party. That means to other people that is not directly involved in the transaction. All right. For example, highway or hospital. Actually, hospital. It can be a public good, but some public good they generate externality. So there will be some positive effect, on third parties. Okay, all right. So what you have here is effect on the marginal cost. Okay, how is the effect? So you have already negative production externality, incur cost, all right? But now the production of a good generate benefits. So what happened to the total cost? So you have the total social cost is equal to what? Is equal to the total private cost. Now it generate benefit. So you have to add external benefit. All right, external benefit. And that will be equal to, in terms of marginal, there I have marginal social cost is equal to MC, marginal private cost, plus MEB. Okay, but sometimes you are talking about cost, okay, cost function, marginal cost, and you want to relate to benefit, it's a little bit difficult. So we make use of the relationship between the marginal external benefit and the marginal external cost. Now, we know that the marginal external benefit is the negative of the marginal external cost. So you have the MSC equal to MC minus MEC. Okay, I want you to draw that function, marginal cost, and how it relates to the marginal social cost. So you can go back to the negative production externality, okay, where you have incurring of costs, but now you have a positive production externality. So how do the curve relate? The marginal social cost function and the marginal cost. Okay, I want you to sketch the curve. Okay, anybody got it? How does it relate? How do they relate?
Shift to the left, the marginal cost.
Shift to the left or shift to the right?
Left.
Left. What do you mean left? Are you going up or going down?
Down, going down.
Down is not left. Down is what? Down is right. Okay. So it's the opposite of negative production externality. So you have the MSC, okay, the MC and the MSC. Q here, you have the demand function, marginal benefit. There is no change in the marginal benefit because externality is on the production. So here I have the MC. You know what? I will draw the MC a little bit higher. I draw it too low. I draw it a little bit higher because the MSC is below the MC. So let's say that is the MC. Now, you know there is external marginal benefit. All right. It's easier to see, you know, like this. MEB is equal to negative MEC. So if you talk about MEC negative, then it's easier to see. So how does it relate? MSC is equal to MC. So at any Q output level, Q, say Q1, MC minus MEC. Then you got the MSC. Right. So what is it? MSC. Okay. So MSC is on the right. So I want you to locate the equilibrium. Okay. So I have your EC, I have your ES. So do the comparative statics. What can you say? Compare the equilibrium output, compare the equilibrium price. So what can we say? Okay, you know what? For this name, sir, of course, now, you know, it's not really urgent, but I would like you to put your picture here, okay? So that I know who you are. Of course, I see you once a week in the classroom, but put your picture here, all right? And also put your real name, okay? Real name means macam Farhana, okay? That's your real name. Ini Dine ke Dina ke Dain ke mana? Aiman, is this your actual name? Dina Aiman? Or is it not your real
Yes,
name?
sir.
Your
Yes, sir.
actual name?
My real name. Yes, Dini Aiman.
How do you pronounce it? Dini ke Dina?
Dini.
Okay,
Yes.
Dini. Okay, good. So put your name, your picture, macam ni, macam Nur Alia. Alright. So put your picture and then use our actual name. Alright, good. So how do you do the comparative statics? What can you say about the equilibrium output level and the equilibrium, what do you call it? Equilibrium price. Okay, that is QS. Okay, anybody, what can you say? I want you to just analyze a little bit, okay? More important is the Q. Okay, what can you say about the Q, the quantity?
Equilibrium quantity is increased.
The equilibrium quantity has increased, right? So you see here, when you do the comparative statics, first of all, you look at the, I don't have to go through, okay? I have gone through last week. So by now, I think we know how to do it already. So you go through what is the equilibrium, okay, under each situation. So what you can conclude from the point here, all right, you can see that QS is larger than QC. Okay, so the social output level, okay, the social output or the social equilibrium output is bigger than what? Bigger than the private or the market. Okay, the market output level. So therefore, the society wants more, okay? Because it's positive. So society wants more. If it is negative, the society wants less, okay? So you want more, okay? You want more output. So in other words, the market, okay, if you just leave it to the market produce how much, what? The market produce too much or too little?
Too little.
Too little. The market produces too little output or too small. They use too little output. Okay. All right. And then you see the price. Okay. Because of the shift in the supply function, the price reduced. Okay? The price reduced. But the more important part is the output level. Okay. This one is more important. So the price has gone down because S is less than PC. Okay. All right. So that is positive production externality. The society wants more. So we say that the market produces too little output. It's not enough. If you leave it to the market, it will produce not enough. Okay, not enough of that good. So example is production of vaccination. Okay, production of a school. Okay, highway. Yeah, one good example. Vaccine. Okay, production of vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine. That is the latest example. I think one of you, I think the other class, or you, or one student in this class, I didn't remember. You mentioned about the vaccine. So that vaccine, in terms of production, generate positive externality. So you want more, we want more, okay? If you leave it to the market, it will not be producing enough. Okay, all right. Any question, any comment? Okay, so next, we are going to look at the positive consumption externality. Next, positive consumption externality is the consumption of a good, all right, generate benefit to third parties. In other words, people who are not directly involved in the transaction enjoy, okay, get benefit from the consumption. So the last part is the positive consumption externality. So here, a consumption of a good, okay, by one party generate positive benefit. You don't have to say benefit is generate benefit. When you say generate benefit, positive, unless you say negative benefit. The benefit to third parties. Okay, look at here, a good example, vaccine. It's not in terms of production, okay? So here in terms of what? Consumption. Consumption of COVID vaccine. When we say consumption, does it mean consumption in terms of the normal consumption? So consumption means what? You take it. If you take the vaccine, that means what? That means your consumption or your taking of the vaccine generate benefit to other people. Other people will have less probability of getting COVID-19. Or you yourself, of course, you yourself will benefit. But other people will what? Will generate benefit in terms of what? In terms of less likely of getting the vaccine, the COVID-19. Okay, so good example here. All right, this is very recent. This is a modern kind of thing. Normally, we when you talk about vaccination, in this book, in public finance, we use vaccination of malaria, malaria lagi apa dia penyakit yang jenis lama, malaria, smallpox, chickenpox, all these things. But now we have another vaccine for COVID-19. So that is one example of positive consumption activity for education. Now, how does education generate positive consumption activity? How?
People can avoid getting scammed.
All right.
People have knowledge to not getting scammed.
You have knowledge. Okay. When you have knowledge,
You can give
you
awareness.
benefit what? You benefit other people, not just yourself. Okay. Because if you have knowledge, we will be less inclined to commit crime. Okay. Be less inclined to do bad things, as opposed to somebody without education. That's why the government make it what? Make at least basic education, okay, up to Form 5, up to tingkat 5, provide free. Okay, why? Because we need to become educated a little bit, at least basic education, because otherwise we are going to be a problem to the society. Okay, so by having education, our consumption of education will generate external benefit to others. So as you become educated, let's say you will be a teacher, or you become an economist. So what you do, okay, what we do, of course, benefit yourself, but what we do will benefit the society. Like if you're a teacher, of course, benefit you yourself, but your knowledge, what? Your knowledge will benefit other people. Macam, doctor, things like that. So education is a basic example of positive consumption externality. So again here, the function that change will be what? The marginal benefit function. That will be on the demand function. So you look at the total social benefit will be equal to what? Be equal to will be total private benefit plus the external benefit. That means our marginal social benefit will be equal to the marginal benefit plus the marginal external benefit. There is no change on the cost side, right? So again here, what happened to the marginal benefit function? What happened to the demand function? Because the demand is the marginal benefit. So when you have a positive marginal external benefit, then what happens? How does the marginal social benefit function relate to the marginal benefit? Okay, you start your sketch the line. You can refer back to the negative assumption. So you must work the other way around. Negative, positive is. So how does the MSB relate to the MB? It's the MC. That is the MB, or marginal personal benefit. Okay, the MSC, will it be above or below the line? You have what? You have the MB plus MEB. So MB plus MEB, you take Q1, will be additional MEB. So what? So you have the MSB. Okay, so MSB equals to MB plus MEB. So that is our MEB. And equilibriums are, you have your ES, here is EC. Okay, so label the equilibriums. Okay, label equilibriums, make the comparison. Okay, what can you say?
The equilibrium quantity has increased.
QS higher than QC.
So QS, you see here, QS is higher than QC. So you do the comparative statistics. Okay, I'm not going to do it now. You have to do it yourself. We have done this a few times, so by now, we should be able to do it. So you compare the quantities, and then you compare the prices. You can see that the QS is larger than QC. So the social equilibrium output is more. So what does it mean? It means that the society wants more. Okay, here QS bigger than QC. You say that the market produce too little. If you leave it to the market will produce too little. Okay? Too little output or service. In other words, the society wants more. So the opposite of negative externality. And of course, you look at the price will be higher. So the society is willing to pay higher price. All right? So price will be higher. So here you can also say PS is higher than PC. That means the social equilibrium price is more than higher than, okay, and then the competitive price. So we are willing to pay more, okay, because of what? Because the consumption generate positive externality, and of course here. Okay, here is the net gain. Gain to society. All right. Okay, good. Question, anything? So this is quite simple. You know, if it is negative externality, you want less. You want less. If it is positive externality, this is the wants more. All right. Okay, good. Now, next question is, how do we internalize the externality? How do we actually take into account the externality? Okay, if it is for firms, how do firms take into account the external costs? If negative consumption externality, the smoker, how do the smokers who smoke the cigarette take into account that external cost incurred to other people? So this is what you call what? This is what you call internalization of the externalities. You internalize the externality. All right. So next part we do internalize. How do we internalize the externality? Now it's not necessarily policy. Okay, it can be any action. Okay, not necessarily policies. Sometimes just action. Okay, action of the relevant party. So that what? So that the external cost and the external benefit will be taken into account. All right. So if you read here, internalize if there is an action. Okay. If there is an action that causes the market participant, the relevant parties, right? The relevant parties, the one that that generate the negative or the positive externality. Take into account the external cost or not off, because off the external cost or external benefit, all right, into their decision, not into the action of the action boleh juga lah. Into their decisions. Okay. Do you get it? Internalize means if there is an action that make the market participant take into account the external cost or the external benefit into their decision. Okay, into their decision. Not cost of, not cost of. That is a typo. So cost or benefit. Okay, the order. We are talking about into their decision making process. Okay, so that is the internalization. How do we internalize the internalization of activities? All right, now how do, let's say, we look at the negative production externality. How do firm take into account that external cost? We know, when you produce a good or service, you only consider what? Production cost. So now how do firm take into account or internalize the external cost that it generates to the third parties? For example, the fertilizer factory, how do they take into account the cost that they incur into the fishermen downstream? How? Okay, there are a few ways. Number one, what is number one? Voluntary. Okay, voluntary internalization. Not necessarily MEC, because it's not just MEC. It can be positive, it can be negative. So number one, voluntary internalization. So use the word voluntary. Yeah? All right. Or the MEC is just an example. Voluntary itu pun salah aja. Okay, voluntary internalization. That means people do it on their own. Okay, on their own. Like the firm, the firm do it on their own to take care of the external costs. Okay, that's number one. What is number two? Number two, government will intervene. All right, the government will intervene through what? Through law. Okay, through law or regulation. For example, smoking of cigarettes. Okay, what is the government intervention in terms of smokers? I think you know it. What is the government intervention?
Smoke at the restaurant. Tax.
Huh?
Tax.
Tax? No, smoking of cigarette. What do the government do? Give me an example of the government intervention. Policy lah. Now, can you repeat yourself? Saya tak berapa dengar. Apa dia?
The rules that the smokers cannot smoke at the restaurant.
The simple rule. You cannot smoke in public places. Okay, restaurant, in the mosque, in the hospital, in the public place. Where there are more than two people, you cannot smoke. If you want to smoke, you go out. Then you go out of the room. So that is a simple rule. Okay. Of course, there is no monitoring. Sometimes you don't have to be monitored all the time. It's voluntary. It's voluntary. Not voluntary, because of the rule of the law, then you have to abide. but some people don't abide. All right, if you don't abide, probably you will get fined. Okay, now another one, the last part, is what you call private bargaining. This is Coase theorem, by Coase theorem. So private bargaining means what? Means there is no government. You don't need the government. The third party and the person that generate the externality, they will bargain by themselves. They will just don't fight. No, it's not gado, not tumbo. Sometimes people become violent, but not that. You bargain rationally. Okay, we bargain rationally, have a discussion, then we can resolve the matter. No fighting. Okay, when we say bargaining means bukannya gocok, okay, bukan tumbuk. Okay, kita bincang elok. Alright. Okay. So let's discuss this internalization of the externality. We look at the first one, voluntary. Voluntary meaning what? Meaning the person, the party that directly involved in the generation of the externality. Voluntary means you do it personally. The generator, okay, of the externality, voluntarily take into account the external cost or benefit, because it can be, this externality here can be negative, can be positive. All right. So here I'm talking about positive or negative. In other words, external cost or external benefit. But to be consistent, in this one should be negative lah, because I say cost first, and then we say benefit. So negative externality, positive externality. So voluntary, for example, if you are the owner of the factory, all right, so you look at the external cost to the, we were talking about the fertilizer factory, you look at the cost of the fishermen or the village, okay, the villagers that use the water for drinking, like that. You take into account the external cost that you incur to them into your production process. So you voluntarily do it. Okay. So our total cost will be the total social cost plus the total personal cost plus the external cost. So you take into account that thing. Okay. And then you got the MSC equal to MC plus the MEC. So we do some measurement voluntarily. Okay, voluntarily, the cost that you incur to them. Again, if you look at example, the smokers, if they smoke cigarette, voluntarily, they take into account the external cost they incur to other people. So easy, easy what they do. When they want to smoke, they go outside. Okay, they go into the jungle or go into some other places because of that externality. So voluntarily done. But the problem is, how can this be voluntarily? How effective is it? Voluntary, can it be effective? Do you think that the company will consider the external cost?
No.
Very less likely. Even though, the owner of the company is to imam, or very Islamic person, I don't think they will consider the external cost. All right. So, but the Islamic perspective, voluntary can work. Okay, can work. Why? Why under Islamic? Not Islamic, not necessarily Islamic. Under religious, religious. If some people, have religion. When you have religion, you have, good and bad. You have values. So, but some people with religion, they can do this. They can do it. They can do the voluntary action of taking into account voluntarily. But I'm saying, not many people. Even though sometimes you can be very religious, very pious, pergi masjid. But when you do business, sometimes we don't do the external cost. Okay, so voluntary can be, all right, limited effectiveness. To me, limited effectiveness. It's difficult. It's difficult to have people voluntarily think. Of course, if you have a small kind of situation, like smoking cigarette, okay, that one can do. But if you're talking about, a factory, that would be, that would be quite difficult. Okay, so limited effectiveness, it can work in small situations. Okay, small cases. Small cases means, you and your friend, you just produce what small scale factory. Your factory is just producing a small amount of output, right? That one you can do the voluntary action. But other than that, it's limited. Okay. All right. Any comment, any question, anything? Okay. All right. Now, next is theorem. After the one that the voluntary, the government intervention we do afterwards. So we go to the third possibility, cost theorem. Now, cost theorem is private bargaining. When we say private bargaining, the bargain is between the person affected by the externality and the generator of the externality. So it's a direct bargaining. Okay, cost theorem, direct. All right, two parties. The party that is affected, okay, and the generator or the producer of the externality. So you have only these two parties. There is nothing else. Right? So we bargain. For example, this is you. This is your friend. Okay? He likes to play loud music. And the music is not something you like. And then he play loud. So that generates externality to you. Negative externality. Yeah. All right? So you bargain. You talk to him directly. Okay? So that is what we mean by bargaining. There is no, like in the job, you don't need the apa kita panggil yang jaga hostel tu. You don't need that thing, that person. The lecturer or the staff that is that is responsible for the dorm, Kalau dekat hostel, sekolah tu kita panggil
Warden.
warden. Okay, you don't need warden. So just between you and your friend. All right. So that is cause theorem. Now, what is the condition for cause theorem? Okay, this is the condition. And this is basically the cause theorem. All right. So number one, property rights must be well defined. And then the beginning is not costly. Okay, costless bargaining. Bargaining without cost. All right. So these are the two assumptions. And then even given the two situation or two assumptions, you have what? You have the bargaining or negotiation between the relevant parties will bring about the social efficient outcome, the social equilibrium outcome, the social efficient outcome. I think the level, the better word is outcome, right? Because you want to achieve the social equilibrium. So it's the social efficient outcome. All right. So if you want to say the role of the government is only to define property right. Okay. Define property right and enforce property right. So these are two assumptions. The two assumptions, and then the private bargaining between the relevant parties will lead to what? Will lead to the social efficient outcome. In other words, the social equilibrium. Okay, you got it? Okay, you write down. Okay, you write down. What are the assumptions? Because I'm going to go into more detail about the assumptions. And then we look at the conclusion. Okay, the conclusion will be what? Will be the social equilibrium outcome. Okay, all right. So what do we mean by well-defined property right? Well-defined property right, you know, in the society, the basic law. All right, the basic law is what? The basic law is define property right. What are property rights? Property right is the right to anyone to do something. Okay, so property right means what? The right of anyone not to do anything, to do something. Okay, example. Kita bagi example tadi lah. The person, you and your friend, this is you, this is your friend. All right, he likes to play music. Now, property right means the right of someone to do something. So something here is music. So who has the right to make sound, make noise? So here the right is, who has the right to loud noise? Who has the right to loud noise?
The friend.
So who has the right? This is what the government do. Okay, the government will just put a law. The right is on whom? Okay, now the right to loud noise, or opposite of the thing is what? Is right to quiet. Okay, now the right. Who has the right? Do your friend has the right to make noise, to play loud music, or do you have the right to quiet environment? So what the government does is just what? Just define that right. Okay, just define that right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the government say, okay, you have the right to make noise, or the government say you have the right to quiet. Or in your case, you know, in our case, the university lah. Okay, university may make a law. People have the right to quietness, or people have the right to make noise. So what this law or what this theorem is saying, It doesn't mean, okay, it doesn't mean who has the property right. Okay, it only mean what? Well defined, must be well defined. So if I go by this example, the government may have a policy or may have a law, give the right to your friend to produce loud music, or they make a law, give the right to people to have quiet. All right, the question here is only what? Well defined. Okay, well defined. So it doesn't matter. So let's say, okay, let's say the government can do a law, give your friend the right, all right, or it can give a law for us to enjoy quiet. So it doesn't matter. It just what is the important thing is what? Well defined. Problem is it's not well defined. So problem in many situations, the right not well defined. You don't know, you don't know who has the right. Do you have the right to quietness, or does your friend have the right to loud music? So it's not sure. So if you ask your friend to reduce the sound, then he will ask you, is there any law? What is your right? You see? So the government under this theorem is only to have a law or have a regulation to well define the property right. Okay, all right. And next, the bargaining between you and the other party is what? Is costless. That means you're bargaining to not costly, Costless means actually the cost is almost zero, not costly. Or not costly, sometimes it involves some bigger situation, bigger cases. Here, zero cost, I can say zero cost. So if you with your friend, then you just bargain directly, then will not be very costly. Okay, but let's say the bargaining, you have to hire a lawyer. Okay, you have to hire a lawyer. That lawyer charge you 5,000. Then doesn't work because you have to pay 5,000 just to do that bargaining. So here no lawyer. Lawyer boleh lah, tapi free lawyer. Okay, you don't have to incur cost 10,000 ke 5,000 ke whatever thousand just to bargain about an externality. All right. So given these two assumptions, if we do the bargaining, what happens? That will give us what? That will lead to the social equilibrium outcome. Okay, so what do you think of this theorem? Is it nice or is it not nice? Benda ni tercabut. Is it nice? Or no opinion? Is it nice or is it not nice? Okay, we'll see. We'll see whether nice or not nice. We'll see. All right, I'll give you an example here. Suppose this is the smoking example. All right, negative consumption externality. Let's say at the beginning, we are here, the competitive equilibrium. All right, initially you are at the competitive equilibrium. Now, under the cost theorem, we do the bargaining. Then what happens? Then we will move from EC to ES. So that means we internalize the externality. Move from EC to ES by cost theorem. Okay. And it also works for any types of activity. Mana dia tadi? Mana dia the negative production activity. Yeah. Again, if you have a negative production activity, you will move from here to here. All right. So the point is, under the cost theorem, and it also work if there is a positive activity. All right. So you move from EC, ES. Okay. So under the cost theorem, you will lead to efficient outcome, meaning that we will move from the equilibrium, competitive equilibrium, to the social equilibrium. All right. So that is what we mean by the negotiation or the bargaining between the relevant parties will lead to the social efficient outcome. So in other words, we are going to move from the competitive equilibrium to the social equilibrium, just like what the theory has been suggesting. But through what? Through theorem. Okay. Now, how do we bargain? Okay, how do we bargain? This is how we bargain. All right. Of course, we know already the cost theorem. So how do you bargain? So let us start with the negative consumption externality. So either the loud music or the smoking of cigarette, negative consumption externality. We are doing it by cost theorem. All right. That means property right is already well defined. Your bargaining will be very will be costless. There will be no cost. So we have, all right, we have the situation. I will draw another graph. This is the MB. That is the MSB. That is the MC. So you're going to move from this point here to that point. All right. So the next issue is, how do you bargain? Okay, how is the bargaining? Okay. How to bargain? All right. Now, number one, who has the right? The right is well defined. Okay, you have the well-defined rights, but who has the right? Under cost theorem, it doesn't matter who has the right. Now, let's say, okay, let's say your friend has the right to smoke. Okay, has the right to smoke. So the right is on the smoker, not on you. But of course, we can do it the other way around. All right. You have the right. We can also have, say here, we have the right to clean air. Okay. This also can be done. But it doesn't matter. Cost theorem doesn't say which party has the right. So suppose this is the one. Okay. Your friend has the right to smoke. So you are, okay, we are the affected party. Okay, the affected party, you want what? You want clean air. He has the right to smoke. Okay, so the affected party will initiate the bargaining. Okay, now how do you initiate the bargaining? How do we bargain? Okay, we bargain by offering some payment. Okay, some payment to the other party, to the other party that has the right. the other party that has the right, all right, so that he can change his or her behavior. Okay, so you offer some payment. All right, now what is the payment? The payment is what? The payment is only in terms of the marginal benefit and the marginal cost. Okay, what is you are going to compensate him or to pay him your marginal benefit. Okay, your marginal benefit. So let's look at the situation. Now, if we look at this diagram here, negative consumption externality, we will start with EC. Okay, so this is QC, and of course that is the PC. So the point or the quantity of consumption will be here, QC. All right, and that will give you what? That will give us or give you marginal external cost. That is the MEC that is generated to you at QC. So what you are going to do, into account this MEC, all right, and then try to reduce Q. That's how we begin. Okay, so that is MEC to you. Okay, so in order for him to reduce the quantity of smoke, you're going to what? You're going to pay him. All right, you're going to pay him what? Up to MEC. So you have the quantity reduced. Okay. All right. Let's look at QC. Let's say at QC. All right. At QC, MEC is equal to that point. MEC, say, we look at some numbers. MEC, that's the MEC. MEC is called the MEC. Okay, bagi nombor lah senang. MEC say equal to 20. Okay, and that QC say equal to 100. MEC to you is 20 ringgit. Okay, 20 RM lah. 20 when we say 20 means 20 RM. That is the marginal external cost to us. All right. Now, if you want him to reduce the amount of smoke or the number of cigarette that he smoked, ni Q ni cigarette lah. Okay. How much are you willing to pay him to have him reduce smoking? Okay. How much?
Maybe 80 ringgit.
20 ringgit. Because you
18.
pay up to.
20. Oh.
So at QC equal to 100 QC, I put here MEC 20. So you pay him 20. You ask him, okay, I pay you 20. You reduce one cigarette. So you pay him 20. He will reduce to Q1. Let's say 99. All right. So your marginal external cost will be reduced. Okay. So let's say at Q1, MEC now is equal to 19. Okay. So what happened? I still incur MEC. So how much are you willing to pay him in order for him to reduce by one more unit of cigarette? 19 lah. Okay, you pay him 19, he will reduce. Okay, let's say to Q2. That MEC is lower now. Okay, say 18. So what? How much are you willing to pay to him? Up to what? Up to 18. So you pay 18, he will reduce. So that will continue. Okay, the payment compensation, the payment that you give to the other party, will continue until what? Until you reach the social equilibrium point. Now, at the social equilibrium point, what is your MEC?
Zero.
Zero. Okay. So when you reach QS, MEC is zero. So you are not going to pay anymore. Okay. So you stop payment. So no payment anymore. No payment anymore. So put anymore there. So that is what? That is the highest that you're going to, the highest that you are, the highest reduction of Q. Okay. So that's how it works. All right. So how again? You will you want to pay? Okay, you are willing to pay up to the MEC in order for him to reduce the quantity of consumption. All right, and he will do that. He will take it until you reach the point where MEC is equal to zero. There will be no more payment. So that is what? That is the social equilibrium. So that bargaining will lead to what? Will lead to ES. Okay, that bargaining will lead to ES, the social equilibrium outcome. So the bargaining will lead to the social, what do you call it? What do I say? Social outcome, social equilibrium outcome, social
Efficient.
social efficient outcome. In other words, ES lah. Okay. Okay, you got it. So the bargaining is to pay. Okay, the affected party will pay the other party up to the MEC. Okay, all right. Now, suppose, okay, we have the other way around also. Let's say the right now, okay, the right is what? Required to clean air. To clean air. That means you have the right to clean air. The other person has no right to smoke. So, if you go back to the diagram, who is going to make the payment? Okay, if you have that, all right, if you have the right to clean air, okay, if you have the right to clean air, where do we start? That means you have the right to clean air, you know. He doesn't have the right to smoke.
Yes.
Or if you start at ES, then tak ada bargain lah, no bargaining. You already at equilibrium. This ES here is the final point, the final outcome. Okay, where is it? If you have the right to clean air,
EC.
it's not EC. EC, he has the right. You know, EC has the right. He has the right to be starting with EC. He will smoke a lot of cigarettes. That will generate external cost. But now we have the right to clean air. The point, where is the point? The point we start here. Okay, the point we start will be what? Q equal to 0. Yeah. Because there will be the right clean air. So there will be no smoking at all. Okay. Now, if you start here at Q equal to 0, this guy here, they want to smoke. All right? They want to smoke. So, how much is he willing to pay? Pay you in order to smoke the cigarette. He will look at his marginal benefit. Okay, he will look at his marginal benefit, and then we will look at the marginal cost. Okay, Then we look at the marginal cost. Okay, so where do we start? We start from here. So we look at what? We look at the here, the marginal social benefit. We'll look at this point, and that's the marginal cost and marginal social benefit. So how much is he willing to pay? He's willing to pay that much. And MSB, because marginal cost is here, that is the MSB. All right. So he's willing to pay up to MSB in order for him to smoke the first cigarette. So Q2. So he said, okay, I pay. Let's say this is equal to 50. All right. So are you willing to take 50? So that he can smoke the first cigarette. Okay. So you will. Okay. Why? Because your marginal cost is here. The marginal cost is there. The marginal social benefit is there, up there. So you will take it. All right. So that bargaining will continue. Okay. Will continue until you reach the ES. Okay. So the bargaining now, of course, will start from the person who smoked. He offer you payment. As long as the payment is higher than the marginal cost, we'll take it. All right. So if we work the other way around, right to clean air. So here you start at Q equal to 0. Okay, air is clean. Okay, air clean air, no smoke, no smoking at all. Okay, so now the bargain will start. The smoker, okay, the smoker is willing to pay up to MSB. All right, MSB minus MC. All right, to have one more cigarette smoke. All right, so he will continue to pay. All right, we'll continue to pay, continue to bargain. Okay, continue to pay or bargain until what? Until the MSB equal MC. Okay, so there is no more additional benefit to him. So that will be what? QS. So that will be leading to the social equilibrium outcome. So either you have the property right with you to clean air, or with the other party to the smoke, or to right to smoke. The bargaining will lead to what? ES. So that is the argument of the cost theorem. They will bargain, okay, among themselves. So they will compare the marginal benefit, marginal cost. Do you accept the payment? I will. Up to where? Up to ES. So that will lead to the social efficient outcome. All right. So that is cost theorem. Now, I have a few more minutes. I'm sorry. Now, cost theorem in real life, when can you bargain between the relevant parties? Do you think that if you are looking at the factory, cement factory, the cement company, do you think the people surrounding the area can go and bargain with them?
No.
No, it's difficult. All right. It can only work with what? With small group. You and your friend, only 2 people. Then easy lah. Okay, small group. The affected party is small, and the generator of the facility is also small. Okay, so you have a small group, so you can bargain. But as the group becomes bigger, the group that is affected becomes bigger, involved will be thousands of people. And then the generator of the externality also big, like a big factory. So cost theorem difficult to work. So cost theorem only work small group. And of course, when you have a small group, then everybody knows everybody. And then the cost of bargaining is low, So as the group gets bigger, things become complicated. The bargaining cost will be higher, things like that. So cost theorem can work. Again, very limited, limited situation. You have small group, it can work. Big group, difficult. Okay. So if you have a bigger group, then what happens? Then you need the government. Then you need the government. So government is justified, right, to intervene where there is externality. Because you cannot rely on voluntary, you cannot rely on the cost theorem to work, but only to limited effectiveness. So at the end, government is justified to intervene. We are going to look at next time the government. Okay, all right. Any question, any comment? Okay, good. So Wednesday class at the 3.4. Right now, anybody still under quarantine? If you are if the class online, you can attend. Okay, no problem. But face to face, if you cannot attend, if you are quarantined, make sure you get notes from your friend. I don't have recording, okay, because in the class no recording. But I will try to make recording from last semester. Not last semester lah, the semester previous semester. Where time I thought this course was, I think, 2 years ago. So I have a recording. So the relevant topic that I don't have recording, I will put in the YouTube for your reference. Because when you have face to face, no recording. So for face to face, I would like the people who miss, right, due to valid reason. Now quarantine. So get notes from your friend and make sure you get the homework from your friends if there is any, or you can WhatsApp me, or you put WhatsApp in the group. Okay. Now if you WhatsApp something relevant to the classroom, to the course, put the WhatsApp in group. Okay. Don't WhatsApp me. Okay. Put in the group so that people can share. Okay. All right. So I will see you again. Have a nice time. I'll see you again Wednesday. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah.
I have question regarding the homework.
Okay.
I look into MOF, Ministry of Finance. The oldest one is 1995.
Then you look at the Treasury.
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 Treasury. Oldest one I have 1960, but it doesn't provide the for exercise for number 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
It provide the simplification one.
Then you follow that thing. So you do only up to 4. Okay. So number 5 apa number 5?
Number 4 and 5, sir.
Yeah, number 5, what is it?
Silap, number 3 and 4. Number 5 ada.
Number 5
number
ada.
5 is difference between total revenue and total expenditure.
Okay, good. So 3 and 4 tak ada. Adjust lah. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Adjust lah. If 3 and 4 tak ada, then you don't have to. You skip 3 and 4. Kata data for that year, you don't have the data. But you look at the one that is closest to it. Kalau tak ada, so now we know. Okay, now we know the data, the publication of the data improve. Okay, the quality improve. In 1960, 1960, this is my age. I was born in 1960. You see the data not so good. Not so good. If you compare to 1990, 1990 things have improved. And if you look at 2000, maybe better improve. So that's good. All right. So if you are doing that period 1960 to 1969, that's good. So you compare dengan 1990 tu tengok data. But it's okay. If you don't have 3 and 4, you just do 1, 2, and 5. Okay. And then when you submit the work, katalah, you say that the data for 1960 to that number of years, the data is not available. Okay. Kalau boleh adjust sikit, if you can look something that is close to it, boleh. Okay, but if there is nothing, then tak payah buatlah 3 and 4. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, tak payahlah nak tukar pula tahun lain kan. So you have spend your time on that thing. Then you just do, or you can make some adjustment rather than do 3 and 4. You compute some other things.
Okay.
Maybe some other things that is relevant. Okay, some ratio yang ada, but still relevant to us. So you make your adjustment. Or you can ask, what are the variables you think is relevant. Okay. All right, good.
All right.
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay.
So for those people who cannot attend face-to-face class, so what about the attendance?
We take only attendance for your online class. But have you contacted the kuliah about you still not returning to Malaysia?
Not yet.
So you should contact the department. Because I'm not. They should have some policy, on you. If you can only online, you cannot come back to Malaysia. So I ask you to contact the kuliah or the department. So go ahead, contact now. Don't wait. Okay. Because
Okay, sir.
I want the exam, things like that. And then of course attendance. But attendance is okay lah. You will get the notes from your friend. Okay, get note from your friend on the face-to-face class. Okay, get some friend. You get the notes, because for face-to-face I give the notes. All right, I write on the whiteboard. I still write on the laptop, but it's not recorded. So your friends who have written something, you get from them. Okay, so that you will continuously get the things that we discuss in class. If you don't, then you will get the discrete amount of discussion. You get only Monday, and no Wednesdays. So there is a gap there. So make sure you get note from your friend for Wednesdays. Okay. Ramlah. Okay. Make sure you get it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Get from your friend. Get to know some people. Through the WhatsApp or whatever. It's not difficult. They just take off the notes and then WhatsApp to you. Okay. So do that. All right. Because now we are already in the 3rd week. Okay. All right. Good. Anything else? Okay. So I'll see you Wednesday. And also I will try to put recording. Okay. Pass your recording on the days that I have face-to-face class. I need to check similarity. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. So I'll see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.